Herpes ain't stopping nothing, okay? It's not stopping a thing. Since sharing online about my herpes status, one of the questions I get often asked is, how do I stay confident in the face of like relationships or telling someone new about me having herpes? Truth be told, it took me a little while to get comfortable, but I think what I would share with someone who is new, and this is coming from someone who has had herpes for over 13 years now, what I would say is instead of being so focused on how the person may receive you or be so focused on if the person is going to like you or not, you should be asking yourself, if I didn't have herpes, would I like this person? Because I think what happens a lot of times, especially with women, is when we do contract genital herpes or herpes of any sort, even if you have like cold sores, but usually genital herpes has a little bit more of a stigma than cold sores. But generally, what women do is we start to settle because we have this fear that because we now have herpes, that means we are disqualified from a certain type of man, or that no one is ever going to love us, or we feel disgusting, or, we just don't feel as confident in ourselves. And I think that is a disservice to yourself. You are amazing. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. I have had so many years where I have cried myself to sleep, where I felt like I wasn't good enough, where I felt as if I was dirty. I actually even tried to, in my own life, when I first found out I had genital herpes. So I completely understand. If you want to know more about how I found out that I had herpes and, just my journey so far with it, I have made a few different videos. So please do check them out. But back to the topic at hand. I want you all to understand that because you have herpes, that does not take away from who you are as a person. Yes, it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, everybody should get herpes. Like, it's just, no, I'm not going to be that person. I will never be that person. But what I will say is, I think the stigma around herpes is worse than the actual virus itself. Because anyone who does have herpes, especially if you have had herpes for a little while now, you know that the outbreaks do not last as long as they once did. They don't happen as often as they once did. And they're never as severe as that very first time, unless you have some other things going on. But for the most part, herpes is like you get a bad itch every now and again. And for someone who has had it as long as I have, you rarely ever get it these days. So I just want you to not be so focused on the aspect of you having herpes, because that is such a small part of who you are. It's not like that is like your core character. And you don't need everybody to like you. You don't need everybody to love you. If you are a Christian, or if you believe in a higher power than yourself, you believe in Jesus, you believe in God, then I want you to remember and to think about everything that is for you will find you, and it will be meant for you. So if you are desiring a husband, if you're desiring a kingdom spouse, if you're desiring a lifelong partner, then understand that you having herpes is not going to stop that. God already knew what your path was going to be like. He already knew everything you were going to go through in life. And He has already created a partner for you, a person for you who is going to love everything about you. And you having herpes is not going to scare that person away. But what will scare people away, especially if you're just out there dating, you're trying to get back into the field of things. In the beginning, you may not want to date. You may not feel comfortable dating. You may feel scared to date. But when you do get back out there and start dating, instead of having this rain cloud above you and being so focused on the negatives of herpes, think about the positives that herpes has brought into your life. And you may not have gotten to the place where you can even find a positive about having herpes, but one of the positives that herpes has, sorry, y'all, got distracted. But one of the positives that have had, one of the positives of having herpes for myself has been my awareness, like my self awareness. I am so self aware now, and I feel like that is because of some of the trauma that having herpes caused me, and having to sit with myself and having to go through those many nights where I was just so mean to myself internally. So now I am very self aware. Another positive that having herpes has done for me is my level of vulnerability and honesty. Because when you have herpes, especially if you are someone who want to be morally good and right, I think the good thing morally to do is to share with a partner before sleeping with them, so that they have the choice on if this is a risk that they want to take or not. It gives you the confidence to be honest and vulnerable about other things that's going on in your life, non-herpes related. If you can be open and honest with a person about having herpes, which for me was one of the scariest things I had to do, it made everything else seem not as scary, because it's like, okay, well, if I can tell this many people that I have herpes, what else can I do? So instead of scaring people away before they even get the chance to know you, because you paint yourself in a bad light because you feel as if herpes has ruined your life and that's all that you can talk about, start focusing on the other aspects of yourself that you love about yourself, and why anybody would be happy to have you in their life. Because sometimes we make herpes bigger than it should be in our lives. It is something that is now going to be with us for the rest of our lives. And unless a miracle happens and God cures you, because that can happen. I do know a person who told me that they tested positive. Now, I am so sorry. Like, everything is just going off now that I'm trying to make this video. So I do apologize for all the distractions. But basically, what I was going to say is that I do know someone who told me that they tested positive for herpes, and they prayed to God for it to be removed and for them to be cured, and they went back and got testing done and no sign of herpes. So I do know that miracles are possible, but if that is not his will for your life and you are meant to have this lifelong, I want you to get comfortable with the fact that you have it as soon as possible, because you're going to make life so much better for yourself once you accept it. If you keep crying about having it and why your life sucks because you have it, or what it has ruined in your life, the longer you hold on to that, the longer you miss out on the life that you should be living and the life you should have. It's going to be with you for life. So why waste all of that time? Just accept it, move on. And I hope that doesn't sound too harsh, because again, I completely understand how it feels, especially in the beginning when you first find out that you have it. It is soul crushing. It makes it feel as if there's no reason to live anymore. But I promise there's so much more in store for you. And somebody is going to love you, herpes and all. So please, please, please don't think because you have herpes that your life is now over. When I tell you the amount of people I have shared that I have herpes with, and they still, they still wanted to get it on and popping. I told y'all back in the day, sis was passing this thing out like a peppermint in church, okay? Like an old church lady reaching down in her purse, in her bag, to get the Tic Tacs out, to get the little strawberry looking candies. Like, that's how I was when I was passing this thing out. Like, oh, you get a piece, you get a piece, you get a taste, So I can laugh now, but it's really not funny, but I can laugh now. But anywho, my point is, these men out here, you having herpes ain't stopping nothing. I was like, it's not stopping anything. And that is something else that I want you to keep in mind too, is sometimes it is a good thing if somebody says no to you because you have herpes, because more than likely that person was going to hurt you anyway. Even if you didn't have herpes, they still were probably going to hurt you anyway. They were not your person, because the person that is for you, the person that is designed for you, ain't nothing gonna stop them from loving you the way that they should love you. So if somebody declines you because you have herpes, instead of looking at it like, oh, see, nobody's gonna love me because I got herpes. No, you say, oh, another one out the way, another distraction out the way. This is only getting me closer to the person who is meant for me. So I want you to start looking at it that way. If somebody says no to you because you have herpes, it is because that person was not for you anyway. And even if you did not have herpes, they probably would have just been there for the wrong reasons, because if they don't want to take any time further to get to know you beyond your herpes, they probably just wanted to have sex with you. That's the harsh truth. They probably just wanted to hit it and quit it. Now, if that is what you're into, where you don't want a relationship, you just want to have unlimited, wild, butt naked, just that's what you want your lifestyle to be right now, and that is what depresses you about getting rejected, then baby, you are looking in the wrong direction. I believe there are, now I don't know if that's what you want to do, but I do believe that there are websites out there for people who have genital herpes and other STDs, STIs. If that's what you want to do, you just want to get it on and popping, then baby, maybe you should be looking there. But if you want a relationship, you want your lifelong partner, you want to be booed up long term, then do not get discouraged by the no's. The no's are just pushing those people out the way that wasn't meant for you anyway. Okay? Because a lot of times, okay, I ain't gonna go there. So to bring it back full circle to where I started from, is think about the person you would choose if you didn't have herpes. Don't settle for people because you now have herpes, so you think you have to accept what you get. No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay? Still have your standards, no matter how high they may seem. Still have your standards. Okay? And just because you have herpes doesn't mean you have to find somebody else who has herpes. If that's what you want to do, cool. But don't think you're also just limited to a small group of people, because I know sometimes people, especially with the single mother, single father thing debate, a lot of times they're like, oh, why do people with kids want to find somebody with no kids, and they should only find other people with kids? And it's no. Go after what you want, not what you think you can get or think that is all that's left for you because you have checked such box. Go after what you want, because that is what you want. So if you want somebody who does not have herpes, go after that, okay? You can have whatever you want. What T.I. say? Baby, you can have whatever you like. Okay? So yeah, don't settle. Don't settle. Just because you have herpes, don't settle. You having herpes don't mean a thing. You just have herpes. You can still be beautiful, bomb, intelligent, a boss, a mom, a wife with herpes. And another thing I want y'all to also remember is there are a lot of people out here who has herpes. Now, I'm not saying everybody has herpes, so don't be like, oh, she said everybody. No, everybody does not have herpes, but there is a lot of people out here who has herpes. There's a lot of people who are not as open as I am in sharing it on the internet, but I don't want you to think behind closed doors there's a lot of people who got herpes, and a lot of people who actually don't even know they have herpes. So, child, stop thinking that herpes has ruined your life, because it has not. It has not. If anything, it has blessed you, because now you have a better BS filter, okay? Not too much BS is going to get by you. Now, again, because some men, if y'all watching this, I'm sorry, real quick, I'm not going to overgeneralize, but I will say a lot of men, not all, but a lot of men will hit anything, okay? And, back in the day, I used to think, oh, I'm this, I'm that, because like all of these guys are checking for me. And then I had to mature and realize that I shouldn't be too proud about this because the caliber of men that's checking for me, one, just want to hit it. Like, so it's nothing to be proud of, in my opinion. It's nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to, feel whoop de whoop about if a lot of guys are checking for you, because 9 times out of 10, majority of those guys don't really care about you and your character and your personality. They just care about how you look and if they have a chance of getting in between. So you don't need a whole bunch of men. All you need is your one person, and your one person is going to love everything about you, and those things that they don't quite love about you, it will still not deter them from pursuing you, from treating you the way you deserve to be, and trying to work with you to establish something amazing, something great. So, baby, herpes ain't stopping nothing, okay? It's not stopping a thing. So if you want to learn about how to disclose, I have made a video about what has worked for me when it comes to disclosing. And if you want to know more of the positives that having herpes has done for me, I have a video for that. But you all, if there is anything that you all want to know about herpes, having herpes, dating with herpes, what have you, just leave it down in the comments and I will do my best to make a video. But again, I just want you all to remember, herpes doesn't have you. You have herpes, and you having herpes is just a small fraction of who you are. Okay? It's just a little something that's going to go with you for the rest of your life, and the longer you live, the less noticeable it becomes and the less huge it seems in your life. But I do understand and I do remember, when you first find out that you have it, it seems as if it consumes your life and that is all that you are. But you attract what you put out. So if you're always moping, complaining, sad, feeling as if no one is going to love you because you have herpes, then nobody is going to love you because you have herpes. That is what you're going to attract. But if you change that mindset and you think of how amazing you are, and you also happen to have herpes, then you will start to attract people who also see how amazing you are and be like, you know what? Yeah, she got herpes, but that don't take anything away from her. So again, baby, herpes ain't stopping a thing. But you all, in the meantime, in between time, let's continue to prosper properly as his property.